Hey there everyone, Julian here once again with my trusty flip chart to introduce another idea to you as part of this series of short training videos. And this one is an oldie but a goodie, some of you may be familiar with it, and it's the Grow coaching tool. And so look, coaching is becoming more and more a part of leadership. More and more leaders are recognizing that they need to develop their coaching skills if they really want to get the most out of their teams. And one of the things that the Grow coaching tool does is gives you a very straightforward framework for starting to coach some people, but also it's a really effective one. So I'm going to get straight into it. Pretty simple. First step you're going to go through when you're coaching someone is this idea of goals. And this is, what do they really want to achieve? Where do they really want to get to? And if we can start to get some clarity around that, at least we've got a guide, at least we know a destination, at least we know where we're trying to get to. If we don't know this, how do we know where we're going to take the coaching? But that's no good unless we have a sense about what the reality is. Where is the person right now? You're not suddenly going to skyrocket from A to B unless you're clear about where you are right now. Quite often this is one of the challenges that people have, is they have these really, really high aspirations, but they're quite just starting out. So one of the things we encourage people to do is let's take stock, let's be honest with ourselves. Is it going to take us a couple of steps to get to our goals, our end goal that is, or what do we need to do? Because what this does is it starts to give us a little bit of a sense about what we need to do. Then you go down into the O, which is the options. And this is where you really take some time to look at, okay, if we understand where we want to get to and we understand where we are right now, what are the different ways we can get there? And look, the best analogy I can use for this is Google Maps. So we all know that if we plug into Google Maps, you want to go to here, what Google Maps will do, it'll look at shortcuts, it'll look at traffic congestion, it'll look at all those things, and it'll give you a preferred option. And then though, it'll give you couple of other options, and it might say, 1 minute slower or 10 minutes slower, whatever it might be. But at least you're given options. When you're in a coaching situation, you want to provide someone with options. You don't just want to come in and say, this is the way, because there isn't just one way. There are always many ways. So take the time to actually go through the options. Once you've done that, essentially, you're going to lead to the W, which is the way forward, sometimes called the will, depending on how you view it. But essentially, this is, where are we going to go now? We know what our goals are, we know where we're currently at, we've explored our options, now we've got a decision, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow that path to get there. Very, very simple. Very, very straightforward, 4 steps only. But what it does is it helps to unpack. Now, obviously this is predicated on the fact that you're good at asking questions as a leader. You don't just want to accept the answer that the person you're coaching is giving you. You want to dig a little bit deeper. So you've got to be very good at questioning, and you've got to be very good at listening. But one of the reasons why so many people and so many leaders are finding this model so useful is because it's flexibility. So I've just put a couple of things here about the different formats that you can use the same model. So quite often people use it when they're career coaching. So you're talking to someone in your team and they're quite aspirational in terms of where they want to go, career ambitious. You can use this model for that. Dealing with poor performance, another good way of doing it. Understanding what does the poor performer want to achieve in terms of goals, why, the reality, why are they underperforming, what are the options that we can do to improve this poor performance, and what's the agreed way forward. If you're doing poor performance coaching, you also want to be looking at your high performance coaching. You don't want to leave your high performers alone for too long. They'll get bored, they may leave. So what you want to do is apply the same model and say, well, what's the new goal for you? What's the reality of you now? You've already demonstrated how good you are. What do we need to do to take you to here? You can even apply it to relationship coaching. Now, I know this could be interpreted as personal relationship. I also like to think of it as relationship coaching within a business, within a team. If there's 2 challenges there, if you've got challenges between 2 people in your team, it's a relationship, maybe a bit of coaching might be useful. And so, look, and the list goes on. It's such a flexible tool. It's a really, really effective one. And again, it's a nice, simple easy one, and there's a lot of literature on it. If you're interested to know more about it, let me know, because we have got a couple of resources that we can send out to you. So I'm comfortable for you to send me through an email, julian@synergengroup.com.au, and we'll send you out some of the materials we use when we coach this in the face-to-face environment. So go out and try this one as well, the GROW model, and once again, we'd love to hear what you think. So go out and be the best leader you can be.